It's our last two-a-day, and as we it's really hard to believe we've been 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks ago, it's just like you just got your head down, and it's just like the next step, and you look up, and here we are, 2 weeks, of camp behind us, and we'll have a full pad practice tonight. Today we don't have any of our freshmen out here. They're all in a university required thing that they had to be at today, so they'll be back for tonight's practice. So today was just some special teams, a lot of individual, and then just team separate. Everything was just kind of teaching, correcting some mistakes from the scrimmage the other day, and just revisiting a few things from the last couple weeks that we needed to cover. And then tonight we'll ramp it up and have a good, tough practice tonight. Same thing tomorrow. Kind of got a couple more situations that we need to make sure we cover before we get into the next scrimmage on Thursday. So, just trying to keep our head down and finish strong these last couple days before, while we got them. Once Wednesday gets here, then it's a whole different. You flip the script. It's a whole nother part of the preparation process that takes place, because now you got 20-hour rules and days off, and you don't have them all day. You got to balance school and all that other stuff. But so we still got a good amount of work to get done, a good plan in place for these next couple days, and we'll go from there.
Talking to the wide receivers earlier about fixing the little things, is it tough to get through to those guys since they know they're that talented, especially as a group as a whole?
It is. Eventually they get exposed. It's always the same. It's the same script, for every receiver that comes through here. I've been doing it a long time, and very seldom, Sammy Watkins, maybe Tyler Grisham, those are two guys that jump out at me as far as just freshmen that were just technically ready to play, from a technical standpoint. They all got to learn the system and all that, but just the fundamentals of the position, and just way ahead of everybody else. Most freshmen come in and they're like Artavis was, or Cornell, or DeAndre. They're just good athletes that have never really played with their hands. They don't really understand the details of playing the position, the influence that you have to have with your body language, your eyes, your arms, how to run. So, like technically how to run. So there's a lot of teaching. Artavis was a guy that, so proud of him. He made a play in the scrimmage the other day, at a touchdown in the scrimmage, that he doesn't 2 years ago, that's not a touchdown. It's an incompletion, or it's a pick by the safety. But now it's a touchdown, because, with coaching and seeing things on tape and correction, and then him buying in and then working on those things in the drill, and understanding why we are doing this in drill work, and then taking it to group work, taking it to the team work, so that it'll show up on game situations. It's just fun to see a guy improve like that, and he is really a complete player right now. He's not just an athlete running around out there. He is a complete receiver, and I'm really proud of him. But all of those guys, same thing with Mike and his development, same thing with Renfro. They just kind of, that's how they get better. When they first come in, it's a lot to learn, and the technique is probably the last part to come, because they got so much stuff going on. They're just trying to figure out where to line up and what to do. And sometimes it takes a little longer for them to really learn how to do that, how to do what it is they're trying to do. So, it's a progression that they all go through, but really pleased with that veteran group. Travion's another perfect example. Really very average when he got here as a freshman. I mean, very average, long way away from playing. And now he's as good as anybody out here. I mean, he is a technically disciplined player. He's improved so much, and when he makes a mistake, he understands, okay, what he did wrong, and that's where guys really grow, when they understand, why they weren't successful in a certain situation, and they can articulate that to you, because they can see it and they know exactly. And then that's when you know that you're making the improvement, and it's across the board with Ray and Travion and Renfro and Dion, who were all freshmen last year. They're just way better from a fundamental, technical standpoint, knowledge, and same thing with Mike and Artavis. Same thing with those guys.
Are those technical nuances creating separation and so forth, where Sammy Watkins was really different as a freshman coming in?
I think it's created a lot of separation. That first group. When I say the first group, I really kind of got 6 guys that. I mean, I think we can just go play, which is what we got to have at that position. But it's really created separation from Cornell and TJ and DeAndre, you know, and that's just where we are. 2 years ago, those guys, or 3 years ago, those guys were probably second team, but they're just technically behind those guys right now. Not talent, not athleticism, none of those things. It's just the knowledge, you know, and because the talent, you know, they're all right there. But the understanding, there's a big separation right now, and it should be, to be honest with you.
How's that going to impact your redshirt decisions?
You know, we still, you know, got some time for we're going to make those decisions. You know, we've got special teams will dictate some of that. The next week and a half of practice is going to dictate that as we, you know, another big scrimmage on Thursday. So, and then once we get into school and things kind of slow down a little bit, you know, revisiting some of these guys that are just overloaded, like Xavier Kelly. I mean, just mentally just fried. You know, will that help them as we kind of get dialed in on an opponent and start cutting the package down, and we're not just, you know, running a season's worth of offense and defense every day at practice. So, you know, hopefully we can stay healthy, number one. And because that's always the first thing that determines a lot of that stuff. So hopefully we can stay healthy, and then you know, we've got a few guys that I think right now as coaches we know, hey, they're going to play for sure. There's no doubt about it. And then we got some guys that we know for sure are going to redshirt. And then we got a little group of guys that are on the bubble. And the one good thing about our schedule is we don't have a conference game till game 4. So, you know, we don't really have to make some of those decisions. You know, last year we kept Cleveland Furl, for example. We had him ready to play up until about the 6th game. And then I finally said, okay, all right, let's hold him. And we were able to hold him, and I'm glad we were able to do that. But you'll have a couple of those guys that we'll have to make a decision on at some point. But again, with away game non-conference and with a couple of home games non-conference, you know, I can dress more, I can keep more with us. But once we go to Atlanta, we'll have to start getting, you know, honed in a little bit. But you know, some of these guys that may be on the bubble, it may be, you know, had we lost a guy in the middle of the season last year, we'd have had to bring Cleveland out. But we stayed healthy, you know, all year till the end, literally till the Orange Bowl. So I don't think you can just. Some guys we can say, okay, right now for sure, hey, and for sure play. But then there's that, like I said, that little group that it's going to be a while on some of them before we can really make that decision.
The other day on the long touchdown runs, did you go back and look see what exactly happened on those plays? Busted, somebody didn't fit the gap right? What happened on there?
Of course, we went back and looked at it. You know, it's a combination of everything: bad angles, missed tackles, not, you know, guys jumping around their blocks and creating big gaps, and just a combination of things. And then some guys just getting blocked where they're supposed to be, but they just getting blocked, not getting off blocks. So it's a little bit everywhere.
Who are some of the guys you think might be able to find a niche for themselves in kick coverage? Maybe Trey Lamar or Shaq?
Yeah, you know, Trey for sure is a guy that you know, right now he's not far behind them first two at backer. I mean, he's nipping at their heels. This is a young man that, you know, it's just clicked for him. He's just grasped everything. And he looks like a veteran player out there. He really does. So there's no question he's going to be a definite factor on the teams as well, because he's one of those guys definitely going to play.
You know, reflect on the last 5 years of going from first ACC title year to building on that each year. Brent's hiring and his presence and his staff with his coaching and his recruiting, what has he done to transform that side of the ball and then with it the entire team?
Well, he's done a great job, and it's not just Brent. I mean, you know, Marion's been here with me for, you know, he was here before Brent came, and Dan's been here with me the whole time, and Mike, I think we hired a year after Brent. But I think the continuity that we've had on both sides is the biggest thing. You know, there's no question about that. And then you know, just Brent as an individual is a great football coach. and he's an excellent recruiter. I mean, he loves to, you know, we've got a great recruiting staff. We have a group of guys that take a lot of pride in the evaluation process and who we are as a program, and you know, we spend a lot of time on that part of it. And you know, sometimes, you know, I've been around coordinators in my career that didn't like to recruit. It was like, recruiting, what? We got to go. We ain't got time for that. We got to, you know, and it ain't about, you know, everybody's got good X's and O's, and everybody's got good coaches, you know, but it's getting the great players. That's what, you know, that's your lifeline. And we have, our entire staff is structured that way. I mean, our coordinators, you know, love to recruit, and they're passionate about it, and so am I. So I think it's a very healthy, you know, situation from that standpoint. But Brent has brought, you know, great toughness. You know, he's helped me to create the type of culture that I want to have defensively, because first of all, he's bought in from day one on the way we were going to do things at Clemson, and it's never been a problem, you know, and that's why I hired him. You know, you know, I remember meeting with him. This is how we're going to practice. If this is a problem, you know, this ain't the place. I need to know now. This is what we do. If this is a problem, I need to know now.
As far as the tempo?
You know, well, everything about who we are as a program. And he's like, you know, from day one, like, listen, I don't care about none of that. I'm just going to coach defense. Whatever we see, I don't care what y'all do, you know, we're going to get the defense ready. And then his background from the Big 12, I thought was huge for us, because of what he had seen. And I just felt like he was, you know, 5 years ago, in a different place as far as maybe the understanding of some things defensively. And because of his background in the Big 12 and what he had to see every week from a quarterback standpoint, and a style of play, and not only against, but what he had to practice against, because he worked with Leach. I mean, he'd seen it all. So he just had a good comfort zone on you know, what we needed to do defensively, and within the framework and the philosophy of Clemson. So he's been great. I mean, he's just been tremendous. He's passionate. Like I said, he's a very detailed guy. He's a great recruiter. He loves the players. He's a great family guy. There's just really no negatives when it comes to Brent Venables whatsoever.
For the last 5 years, this offense has been among the best in the country. Did last year sort of amplify, you, as a championship team, you go as far as that defense takes you? Not just during the season, but especially when you get the bowl.
You know, I think it's more than that. I think you go as far as your team will take you. I mean, I've never been into the defense wins championships. Teams win championships. That's it. Teams win championships. You know, I mean, in 2010 we had a heck of a defense, but we couldn't score, and we couldn't make a kick. You know, we could move the ball, but we couldn't score. And you know, we had a great defense, but we weren't very good. It's a team effort to win, you know, at the highest level. And I know that's a great cliche to say, but I don't think offense wins championships. I don't think defense wins championships. I don't think special teams win championships. Teams win championships. You know, because there's times where, hey, you're gonna need a little more from that offense that game. There's times where you're gonna need a little more from that defense. It just, you know, it all works together, and we've had a good team, and that's why we've been successful.
Any update on Marcus and when he'll be able to get back out there?
Who's Marcus?
Edmonds.
Oh, Edmond. We got a couple Marcuses on the team. Marcus Edmond. I think he's close. You know, I'm hoping they were going to stress him a little bit today and tomorrow, and kind of see where he was from a cutting standpoint. But I'm hopeful that by next Monday he can be back and have 2 weeks to get ready for Auburn. That's my hope.
How is Shadell doing with learning the tight end position?
You know what? He's doing good. You never know with guys like that making that type of transition, but I'm gonna tell you what, he's lighting the britches right now for a tight end, but that sucker will put his hat on you. Now, he is tough. He has no fear. Shadell's gonna be just fine. He's just gonna have to, you know, he's got to get a little more meat on him and a little stronger. But now that he's made that commitment to it, I mean, he will. He's a very committed guy to this program. He's a committed guy to being a good football player. And I don't know if he's going to have a very, very big role this year, but what we've seen, very encouraged. He's never done paw drill, and all of a sudden you throw him in a paw drill, and he's been a wide out, and how's he going to respond? And he's done a great job. I'm really, really pleased with him. So I just think, and he doesn't have to be 250, but he's going to have to get in that 235 range to be, the type of guy that we need him to be. He could probably have a role and things like that, but to be an every down type of guy, he's got to develop a little bit more physical. But he's got 4 years left, and but I think that's a good move for him.
I know that you're still evaluating the secondary, a lot of decisions there. Are you any closer? Has anything stood out to you the last week or so in camp, and maybe especially with that other corner spot?
Well, today's first day since our scrimmage on Saturday, and obviously we were very disappointed in the production at corner. I wasn't real pleased with anybody defensively the other day, to be honest with you. Jadar, I thought Jadar did well. Trey Lamar was another guy I was very pleased with. But other than that, I thought he made a couple plays, but I just thought as a whole defensively we just gave into it Saturday and didn't have our mindset right and like I've said before, if you show up on our practice field, whether you're the offense or the defense, and you ain't got your mind right, you're gonna get exposed, and that's what happened Saturday. It's exactly what happened. They're trying to survive instead of thrive, and got their butts kicked. And I've seen just the opposite, where the offense didn't quite bring the mentality they need, and the defense did, and the offense got exposed. I've seen both on our practice field, and that's a good thing, because like I said, it creates, you can't hide. You can't hide out here. It creates the type of practice environment that you really need to have to be a really good football team. And so we got some work to do. I think Jadar has been very, very solid. I'm excited about him, and I think Van has been very solid. From the most part, our safety, those two safeties right there, and Muse is making progress. Denzel, Carter, I'm confident with him playing some safety if we need him. Wiggins has played some safety, and he's obviously played a lot of ball. He knows what he's doing. So we're going to be fine. The biggest thing right now is getting that other corner spot. I think we got the right guys. I mean, Mark Fields is as talented a guy as you're going to find. It's just really him just becoming that day in and day out dog. Just being a dog, man. I mean, every day, just fanatical about his discipline and his technique of the position and the details of the position, and not just thinking he can just line up and be an athlete. And those days are over. He's got to become a technician, and he's done a lot of good things in camp. But when you take your foot off the pedal just a little bit against the guys we got out here, it's usually not very pretty. And then Trayvon, man, I love that guy. I mean, he's just a guy that's learning how to play, great talent, great competitor. I mean, he wants it, and that's what I love, and when you got a guy like that, it's going to happen for him. Kayvon is a guy that can play corner. We're kind of trying to figure out what's the best place for him. Do we just use him as one of our specialists, like a nickel dime guy? Do we really settle him in over at corner? Or do we go ahead and put him at safety? I mean, he is exactly what we hoped he would be, and he and Ryan Carter probably give us the most versatility within the group. So I'm confident that he's going to be able to help us. And then you're going to get Baker back, you're going to get Edmond back, and we forget Edmond was the starter coming in. So I think we've had, maybe that turns out to be a blessing in disguise. The fact that, okay, we've had to let some other guys really get all those reps, because obviously Edmond would have taken a bunch of those reps had he been in camp the last 2 weeks. So I think we may have a little bit more knowledge and maybe be a little bit further along with the development of Mark and Trayvon, especially, than maybe we would have been if Edmond had been out there. So, but it's a good situation. We're going to be fine there. We'll be fine. But right now we're just still pushing them.
With Mark Fields, do you use Mackenzie Alexander as kind of a role model with him? He was one of those guys that really loved the grind.
He did. Mackenzie loved to prepare, and he was always watching tape. Always. Now he didn't always do what we told him to do. But nobody worked harder at learning what to do than Mac. I mean, it was important to him. He loved to study offense. He loved to study, you know, what a team was really trying to do. And then he loved to work on his technique. I mean, he loved that part of it. He really challenged himself every single day.